So, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. If we could convene. My name is Steve Hillier. I'm the Vice Principal International at this university, University of Edinburgh. And it's my great privilege to welcome you all here this afternoon, or in fact, for the day's event. I understand from discussions that it's been very productive thus far, and absolutely confident that this session is going to be even more so. It goes without saying that each and every one of us, each institution represented here, shares the common aim of ensuring that what we do and the graduates that we produce, our deliverable, as I was just speaking to a colleague just now, continue to be recognized as very, very special people. Because they are what they are, products, graduates of a very special education system. And while it might sometimes seem rather difficult to keep it special, it still is, and it still is regarded externally, the Scottish university system, as something that's rather unique. And it's our responsibility to innovate in this climate of dire uncertainty and certain change to make sure that we can stay ahead of the pack, the UK pack, and indeed the global pack. I mean, as Vice Principal International, I've got a special interest in the international dimensions of all that we're doing. And I would say, on behalf of colleagues who I don't think are here, but certainly John Turner, who's the director of our Institute of Academic Development, and Tina Harrison, who leads our institutional enhancement-led review, that we do attach a huge amount of significance, not just to the development of, let's say, orthodox skills for graduates, but also the huge importance of engagement in a sustainable way globally, that we can equip our graduates to be even more special than we have hitherto regarded them, in the sense that they are, engaging with the global agenda. So today's themes are all about how we might achieve some of that. I don't know how global our speakers are going to be in their interpretation of their briefs, but I would argue that we have to be global now in addressing these questions. Questions around what should the attributes of a graduate from a Scottish higher education be in the 21st century, in order that they can contribute to our national, cultural, societal, economic prosperity. And then we have to ask the questions, of course, as the institutions that generate these amazing people, how we are able to sustain and support these achievements or attributes. We've got two very important speakers to address these questions, but my role is to introduce the person who's going to introduce those speakers. And it's my pleasure to hand over to Phil Wynne from the University of Strathclyde, who's going to do just that. But as I say, please accept this very warm words of welcome from the university as a whole, and we're absolutely delighted that you are here having this very important symposium. So Phil.
Thank you very much, Steve. And on behalf of all of us, thank you very much for hosting this at the University of Edinburgh. It's a great pleasure to be here. I need to start by repeating some housekeeping that some of you had this morning. There are no planned fire alarms, so if the fire alarm goes off, it's real and we need to evacuate the building. We evacuate through the sign-illuminated exits. We assemble outside. I will repeat my instruction of this morning. Don't stand on the cobbles. The cobbles are where the fire engines turn up. You need to clear the cobbles and get to the car park. In the car park, beware of cars. I'm also to remind you that this session is being filmed. So when we come to the questions later on in the afternoon, there will be microphones like this to hand around, so I'd be grateful if people have questions, if they could wait until they can get the microphone and then introduce themselves, the institution they represent, before asking their question. And of course, we're not only being filmed, we're being photographed, as some of you will have noticed earlier on in the day. The other thing I want to point out, the next one of these symposium sessions will be on 11th of October, and we're very grateful to colleagues at Glasgow Caledonian University for agreeing to host that one. The speakers at that event will be Sieur Bergen from the Council of Europe, Professor Christine King, Emeritus Professor at Staffordshire University and ex-Vice-Chancellor of the University of Staffordshire, and Christina Yan Zhang, International Students Officer from the National Union of Students. Bookings will be open for that event in the next few weeks. The main event this afternoon. It's an absolute pleasure to introduce Professor Anne Glover, Chief Scientific Advisor for Scotland. As well as being Chief Scientific Advisor for Scotland, Anne holds a personal chair in molecular and cell biology at the University of Aberdeen. She's a Fellow of the Royal Society of Edinburgh, an elected member of the National Environment Research Council, and Fellow of the American Academy of Microbiology. Anne is evidently a thoroughgoing Scot, educated at Dundee, Edinburgh, working at Aberdeen, with a brief interlude in Cambridge. Very East Coast, I think, those universities. Anne has been recognised for her work with the award as a Woman of Outstanding Achievement by the UK Resource Centre for Women in Science, Engineering and Technology. Anne, as well as engaging as Chief Scientific Officer, also manages to maintain a successful research lab at the University of Aberdeen, interested in biosensors, environmental monitoring, and how organisms respond to stress at a cellular level. I know exactly how difficult it is to maintain research activity, and I think that what you are managing to achieve in that capacity, as well as Chief Scientific Advisor, is frankly awesome. It's my pleasure to invite you to begin this session.